So hey guys, it's Stephanie coming at you with my wrap-up for Genrethon. Now my personal goals for Genrethon were to read 3 books, all of them in different genres, and I actually ended up reading 4, so I was pretty excited about that. So without further ado, let's get to these books. So the first book that I finished for Genrethon was in the horror genre, and like 70s horror if you want to get like really specific. But it was Harvest Home by Thomas Tryon, and I buddy read most of this with Hannah at Craving Books, and then because I'm a bad friend and I couldn't put it down, I finished the last 100 pages in one night, and I'm sorry. So the book was really good. I don't want to talk about it too much because I actually want to do a review for that book on its own later. And the second book that I finished for Genrethon was in the chick lit genre, or if you want to use the genre that I made up for it then, Southern Fried Chick Lit, and that was Fannie Flagg's Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe. And this was actually what my book club picked for this month. I really enjoyed this book. So as I've mentioned before, the book has 2 storylines. One of them is a middle-aged woman named Evelyn Couch who has to go with her husband to the nursing home to go visit his mom, but his mom does not like Evelyn. So Evelyn is in the lobby waiting for this visit to be over, and this old lady comes up to her and just starts telling her all these stories about her childhood and the town where she grew up in Whistle Stop, Alabama, and all these crazy stories about her sister-in-law Iggy and her friend Ruth and just everything that went on in that town. I mean, so of course, the first time this old lady just sits next to her and starts talking, Evelyn's like, "Who are you?" But after a while, Evelyn becomes really interested in these stories and finds herself looking forward to going to the nursing home to find out what happened with Iggy and what had happened in Whistle Stop and to hear where she had left off with these stories last time. And they actually end up being a point of inspiration for her to take control of her own life and to find happiness. And of course, the other storyline is the chapters that take place where they are just talking about Iggy and Ruth and stuff that had happened in Whistle Stop. And then every once in a while between the chapters, they do have little news articles from their small town with all basically the town gossip for that week. So it was really interesting to get a look at kind of what small town life used to be like in the 30s in the South. So like I said, I really liked this book. I ended up giving 5 stars. I thought the writing was great. The characters were really memorable. And in case you were wondering, if you've seen the movie, you know when they talk about Iggy and Ruth, they just kind of look like they're like really good friends. The book is a little more clear about Iggy and Ruth having a romantic relationship, so if you were curious about that, there you go. So yeah, 5 stars, really good, definitely recommend this. And the third book I read for Genrethon was in the mystery genre, and it was the start of a series, and that is Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie by Allan Bradley. And this is the first book in the Flavia de Luce series. In case you don't know, Flavia de Luce is a chemistry obsessed, probably sociopathic, child's genius, amateur sleuth. So the book takes place in 1950s England, and as I mentioned before, Flavia de Luce is a child, and at the beginning of the book, a man dies on her property, and she spends the book kind of trying to figure out what happened to him, and she runs around on her bike throughout her small town gathering clues. It was a really good book. I was actually really surprised that I liked it because I usually do not like child narrators, but I think she has a grown-up enough voice, and when the author made her a genius, I think he just kind of went with her having a more mature voice and didn't try to make her more childlike. So if you're looking, I guess, for a more realistic depiction of like a child narrator, you might not enjoy this or get frustrated with how unrealistically mature she is, but I think that's what I like. So I really enjoyed this. It was a very fun read, and if you're into that or you're looking for a new fun mystery series, I would definitely recommend this. And the last book I read for Genrethon was in the sci-fi genre. It was a book I got from NetGalley on my Kindle. The book is called The Many Selves of Katherine North. And basically the main character, Katherine North, is a 19-year-old girl. She works for a corporation called Shencor, and they specialize in consciousness projection. So she has her consciousness projected into lab-grown animals. I guess the easiest way to explain that would be to compare it to Avatar, like the same way the main character goes under and he like wakes up as Avatar. That is basically her job. What she does is she kind of gets hooked up to this machine, and they kind of put her I guess you could say under, and she kind of wakes up as these different animals for the purpose of studying animals and learning how they interact with their environment and their behavior. It was basically all for research purposes. She notices that her company is taking a little bit more of a commercial turn, and she's very uncomfortable with that, and she's trying to get to the bottom of it because it looks very suspicious. And so that is what the book is about. I will talk about it more later. I want to do a full review closer to the release date of the book at the beginning of June, but I really, really enjoyed it. So if you want to look out for that review, I'll have it up sometime in the beginning of June, like I said. But I definitely recommend it. It's like my favorite sci-fi premise, where it's in the not too distant future where now we have the technology to do, fill in the blank, and it's kind of a discussion of like the ethics of that. So I would definitely recommend that. So that is all, folks. Thanks for watching. I hope you had a great Genrethon if you participated, and if you did, let me know what you read. But like I said again, thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.